Hey, I'm Duke on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with 2.0 of a donation deck list from Bob. This is the second iteration. The first iteration was a recorded league with pretty much the same list. This is a junk depths list that looks at playing some new cards in Deeproot Wayfinder, a Ramanap-esque card that does need to deal combat damage to replace itself or start getting lands from the graveyard, but seems really cool in a list with cards like Dark Depths and Hexmage. And by having the Hexmage in the deck, we also are running 2 copies of Invasion of Ikoria, which is a new battle card, a new type of card, that for X and 2 green, you can search your library at all graveyard for a non-human creature card with mana value X or less, and put it onto the battlefield. And then the battle is 6, so once it flips, it turns into an 8/8 legendary creature with reach, and it says for each non-human creature you control, you may have that creature assign its combat damage as though it weren't blocked. This is pretty sweet because for 4 mana, you can get Hexmage, which can remove the battle counters and give you straight away a legendary reach 8/8 creature. Legendary is pretty key because it means that you can even Caracas it to your hand to then recast Invasion to get Hexmage from the graveyard to do it all over again if you really want to, which is pretty sweet. It also is kind of just like a Zenith number 4 in some ways, a little bit slower. Can't get humans, of course, or can't get Knight, but it can get things like Skoos, Knight of Autumn, and Reclaimer, which is pretty cool. The difference between this list and the previous list is just a few minor tweaks. And that was to fit in 2 copies of Urza's Saga, which I think are 2 cards, which I think is 1 card, that works really well with Deeproot and making your opponent have to have an answer. Because if you're bringing back Forest and Plains, it's a lot different to bringing back Sagas. And because you don't really care about your Saga being tapped on the first turn it's in play, I think it works really well with Deeproot. To make space, I've taken out the second copy of Step and the second copy of Bayou. I think we will still be okay on mana, especially in a 4 Mox Diamond build. And the second step, I feel like a lot of people play around the second step to the extent where you can just play without it, and it might even do exactly what you want in a way. So those were kind of the considerations. And then I wanted a Shadow Spear in the list as a Saga target on top of the Moxen, and I couldn't find a space to drop it. So we're just going to run 61 in a pretty high tutor build and see how it goes and go from there. The only other change I made to the original list, which will be up on YouTube shortly, I just wanted to put together the article and have this league as well under my belt to get a bit more wraps to the deck before I put that out there, was Prismatic Ending as just a flexible removal spell in the board over Gaia's Blessing, which is great against decks like Painter, but a bit slow against other graveyard decks. So just wanted to make sure that I had something where in the first league, no spoilers, but having a little bit more removal in the 75 was kind of where I wanted to be. So we'll see how that goes. Hey Wes, I haven't seen the new Sagata. If you got a link, that'd be pretty cool. Okay, we're playing a Legacy League with Wayfinder Depths. Nice gameplay. Very cool. The one thing I will say in the blind about Sagata is that typically Sagata is a high cost creature, and in 2023 it needs to be very good to make it into Legacy generally. And yeah, it's really tough because 4 mana for a 4/4 flyer, not too bad. Other permanents you control hexproof, so this can be like Caracas, can be swords, etc. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. You may cast angel or human spells from the top. So Maverick does run a few human spells, which is cool, and obviously card advantage is nice. But it's really tough because I think Maverick already has strong ways to grind. This is very a grindy card. If this was something like it costs, you know, X less for each creature you have in play, and it makes your opponent's spells cost 1 more or something like that, that'd be pretty cool. Something to really have like an effect on combo decks would be cool. But I got just a little bit too underpowered for Legacy. No white mana. Sorry, no green mana, which for me is just a huge kind of red herring. Because there's been too many hands where I've been like, we'll draw the green source, and we don't. So I'm pretty happy to mulligan this. This is much better. It's also nice having the crop rotation and the flagstones. Honestly, here it's probably either the Krakus or one of the creatures here that I want to drop. I like keeping mana that works. The crop rotation gets us to the 3rd mana producing land, which is nice. And also just having the combo in hand is pretty good. I think it's the Krakus because we can crop for Krakus if we really need it. So I'm happy to keep both threats. Alright, Twin looks to be on. Probably Blue-Ray Delver. Potentially with Stifle. I guess we'll find out. Ancient Tomb. Oh, Show and Tell? Okay, well at least we have Knight, and then also crop rotation into Karakas here. I think it is just Knight this turn. That's an easy one. And then if we need to Karakas later, we can. Could also go land. Next turn, land. Land. 2 mana, and then crop isn't good enough. Sorry for the combo. So I think it is just put in Knight, and then hope it's a big creature like this. What I will do though, so there's a few things we could do here. Now it's a little bit awkward because if we fetch here and crop into Karakas, and our opponent draws and draws to force this, we then don't actually have a forest or a plains next turn with the Knight, which is pretty tough. So I think here I don't want to fetch, even though it would be nice to make them have to draw and then go to discard. But I think here we just have to allow them to have that, which is pretty lame, but that's how it goes. And we would have drawn Saga as well. I guess we would have fetched, so you don't really know, but we will fetch here. We'll just go and get Savannah. Float with these and then crop. Hey Min. Welcome, hope you're well. Okay, so we get to go fetching. I'm not going to show the Black Splash. Not too relevant in this matchup. But Show and Tell's always going to be tough. So they are going to force a pitching Fluster. We have a white floating, which doesn't do a whole lot either. And I think here, I don't think Stifle's something to play around, and I'd rather just go to attack phase and bounce this, because if I bounce it here, and they have like, say, another Soul Land and Lotus Petal, and are able to give Grizzlebrain haste, then the Krakus has done nothing. So I think here the safest bet is to, at the beginning of combat, put it back into their hands. They can draw an extra 7 here, and also use the Tomb in the same turn. So I can only assume here they're looking for Sneak Attack and probably Emrakul. Or potentially, if they're playing it, Archon. of cruelty to make me sack the knight. I wonder if they have another red source or not. Traxer. Okay. What do they find? So they do play Archon. It's good to know. Not too much we can do about that. A Suvan Drifter. Flying, you may look at the top card of your library at any time at the beginning of each combat. You may reveal the top card of your library if you reveal a creature card this way. Interesting. Takes a little bit of setup, but very cool to see new cards make it into Legacy decks. And we're going to call that there. Alright, Show and Tell. This is going to be a tricky one. The Deafening Silences are nice. They're just some sort of speed bump. The Chokes have play. The Force of Vigors do have play against Omni and even Blood Moon effects, and of course Sneak, which is good. Nothing else tickling my fancy too much. Torpor Orb does stop Archon and... I believe it stops Archon and Atraxa, which is kind of cool. What don't we like? The Shadow Spear. Probably the Hex Mage and that sort of combo. The Knight of Autumn is great. The Skews can come out. The Wayfinders are probably just not what we're looking for in this sort of matchup. Oof does somewhat of attacks on pedal effects, but that's really it. Maybe a Deeproot isn't too bad. It does survive both Pyroclasm and Kozilek's Return. So maybe that's just where we sit. Torpor Orb does stop the Knight of Autumn, so hopefully that doesn't come up. Okay. Look, not too bad. We have a turn 1 library into a turn 2 Deeproot, and we also have Karakas, so pretty happy to keep this. It does rely quite heavily on this Sylvan Library resolving. The hand otherwise is a little bit mediocre, but opponent's gone to 6 cards. So let's go Mox, pitch the Dryad Arbor, play the Karakas, and play the Sylvan Library. Nice. Always cool to see that stick. Because obviously the card disadvantage of Mox isn't that great. Okay, no Ancient Tomb. That's also really nice. Force is great. Okay. I think here I don't mind just paying. Paying for the Sajiri step does turn on like Mox Diamond down the line. Being at 12 does mean we don't survive an Emrakul swing, but I think that's more than fine. The big question here is, am I willing to tap off Karakas and play Knight for the turn, instead of, say, playing the Deeproot and going that route? Either way, we're definitely playing the Bayou. And I think at this stage also, I'm pretty happy just to tap out for the Knight. I guess Daze is another consideration. And I feel like if they're brainstorming in response to Knight here, they're either looking for Daze or Force. So worst case next turn is probably... Obviously worst case is Ancient Tomb, Show and Tell, Sneak Attack, Lotus Petal, Creature. But hopefully that's not it. One little thing that we have here as well is that if our opponent does have something like Show and Tell this turn, then we do get to play Sajiri Step. Say if they put in Omniscience, we actually have Sajiri Step into play on night, and then in response to the trigger, Force of Vigor the Omni, so they can't sorcery speed a creature spell with the Omni in play. Okay. I don't mind a 2-for-1. We have more knights in the deck as well, which is nice. Fury's a card I didn't really consider. Probably should have as well when I was saying how this does make it through things like Pyroclasm. Alright. Archon's going to be really strong here. Okay. We actually just died at the Archon because we can play the Knight and then we can crop into... Yeah, we're just dead. I was going to say... We could play the Knight and then crop into Dried Arbor as our 4th land, but we have to actually pay for there. And we just died at the 6 in the air. Or the 9 in the air, because the trigger for 3. So, kind of what you would expect from Show and Tell. Not too much that we can do, but there we go. Hey JH. This is just game 1, but in a previous league, it did pretty well. So this league we're trying out Urza's Saga, which does increase the benefits of it and makes it a bit more of a threat, which is good. It is currently about 10 to 10 on a Sunday night. It's not too late. Usually a bit of a night owl anyway. But yeah, Sneak just doing Sneak things. And Archon is definitely a bit over the top in how the matchup usually goes. Like maybe 70-30, but Archon's definitely made it a lot worse for creature decks like Depths and Maverick, etc. But yeah, strong 6. Fury turn 2 into turn 2 Show and Tell Archon is really hard to beat. Kind of need to have swords there. Potentially, I was thinking of Path in the spot of Prismatic Ending, but I don't mind the flexibility of Prismatic. I think that's something that I need to get better at, is knowing when the flexibility is actually worth it, and when you just need something that does what it does really well, like Path, in that slot instead. Because you only have 75 slots, and you either got to have flexibility in some slots, but others you really need to have an understanding of the deck and know when you can't have the luxury of flexibility, and you just have to go with what does things best. Which is pretty hard in 2023. A lot of good cards coming out. Things like Prismatic Ending make it really easy to move away from cards like Path to Exile, but obviously up against things like Grizzlebrand or Archon, Prismatic isn't going to get you too far. Path to Exile, on the other hand, pretty good removal spell. Pretty good removal spell. But yeah, a big thank you for Bob for taking this donation deck list and passing it on. Very much appreciate the support. It's been cool to get their thoughts as well on Deeproot coming into the deck, which I'll go over after this match. All right. Look, not the worst. Double swords. We have turn 1 Reclaimer. Probably off just a Savannah into Hold Up Sword. We have Hold Up Reclaimer. We have a turn 4 Invasion as well, so pretty happy to keep this. The Dried Arbor makes this a 6, so I'm pretty happy to keep this 6. Could also go Yav into Reclaimer, but I kind of like using the fetch. If we draw into like a Wasteland, it means we could Swords and Wasteland in the same turn. Opponent's just gone down to 6 cards. Easily one of my favorite arts in Magic. I know there is a, the artist actually has the playmat up for grabs, which is really nice. So I have to get one of those down pat. Alright. I guess what this hand is missing is a follow-up threat outside of invasion. But otherwise pretty strong. Like this hand against like a turn 1 DRC is great, having the Sword of Round Days. Trop. Pedal, okay. Maybe Tess or Ant? This could just be a good old Adnors. Is that supposed to be Moat in the background? No. No, of course. Take that back. Obviously not. Okay. 4 mana floating. They can use 1 for Wishclaw. 3 floating. Could get an LED, that's 6. Thoughtseize. That's where Deafening Silence comes in. Shooter. I wonder if they just get... LED doesn't do it. Tutor 1 mana floating with Talisman. They just go for a... No, because Flashback... Past in Flames doesn't do it either. Really tough. Hey, True Hero. Huge thank you for the raid. Hope you're well. Welcome all those from True Hero stream. What did you end up playing and how did you go? One mana floating. Tutor Talisman. I'm trying to think of a line where they can ritual tutor again from the grave, but I feel like they're too low on mana. Very interesting. I assume now we just hold up Bog in case they try to go like LED, Past in Flames, but even that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 with Adnors. Maybe they could go tutor. I guess we'll see. Playing the Windswept Heath because it means the Reclaimer becomes a 3/4 quicker. This also means we can hold up Bog, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, maybe they just miscounted. But I'm feeling like this is just going to be Ant and not Tess. Unfortunately, unlike Maverick, we are playing the Collector Oof in the sideboard. So the best card we could get from the Talisman in the main deck, it could actually just be Hexmage and then Hexmage the Talisman so they can't get another thing off it. They're going to allow us to fetch. Just going to get a basic here and turn it into a Flagstones. Knight of Autumn is very good. Activate this only during your turn. I'm pretty happy just to say if you can go off on your turn without the Wish Claw, pretty stoked. Hey Rain, thank you very much for the sub. A huge thank you. Let me know if you play Legacy. What you play, what your local scene's like, if you have a local scene. A big thank you for the support. Okay, I feel like that was the massive turn. Like, obviously with 3 cards, it's very hard to go off. Hexmage is pretty sweet. We can't actually cast it right now. We don't run a Urborg. But it does mean we could slowly move towards Dark Depths, which is cool. We can actually get it online next turn. We can use Flagstones to go and get Scrubland. And then also get Bayou, untap, play Hexmage, and then hold up Reclaimer to go and get Dark Depths end of turn to go off. So in a really good position here. If we really need to as well, we can Swords our own creature. Yeah, I think D&T is definitely a viable deck. You'll see a lot of Akaleth, XJ Cloud, Jason as well, playing a lot of D&T online. Most of them playing the Yorion builds. Some of them moving around between... I know XJ right now is testing out a version with Chromox, which is doing pretty well. Obviously, Wasteland as well is a pretty good card. Bog's a little bit awkward, but it does turn off Cabal Root for now. Play the Hexmage. And then I want to attack with just the Knight. As potentially, if I really need to Swords my own 2020, that isn't out to them, kind of going off as well. So let's get rid of the Bog here. Go and get Depths. Probably should have tapped the Dryad Arbor. I don't believe that'd have main deck removal for the 2020. Usually in Ant these days you might see Abrupt Decay in the main deck, but otherwise not too much going on. So Swords is a pretty easy cut. The Deafening Silences are great. Oof is a really nice target, of course. Shadow Spear is an easy cut as well. Grist. Deeproot's again not great, but we'll see what else we could potentially drop. I do like that these are just copies of Collector Oof, so I don't mind keeping those. The Chokes do something. The Endurances usually don't. They usually just play around them in a way. The Caracas is an easy cut. It could be going down on Deeproots here. And like potentially a Plague in case of empty. Prismatic. Prismatic does hit a few things, especially with Deafening Silence. It usually causes them to potentially play something like a Wish Claw or a Lotus Petal out the turn earlier, so having the ending I wouldn't mind. And maybe it is just the flash creatures of Endurance being better than something like a Library. That is only really good if it comes down turn 1 with the Mox Diamond. I don't mind this. I think I probably want to just make sure I'm also working towards my Dark Depths combo, because that's the fastest way for me to win. So drop some early disruption, but make sure we can get to that Dark Depths plan pretty early on. I'm just going to add a Force. Hey Matzol. Yeah, maybe Force of Vigor is better, but I do like that with a with the deafening silencers. I can definitely see potential where the prismatic is relevant. This is a turn 1 Reclaimer into potentially a turn 2 Collector Oof, turning off our own Green Suns. It does naturally have the Plague Engineer in case I go for just an early empty. But otherwise, it doesn't have Deafening Silence. It doesn't have too much going for it. Especially if our opponent like Thought Teases us and takes the Moxen. The Dried Arb is just hanging there. I'm pretty happy to mulligan probably once. Just because the mana's a little bit iffy. And having something like a Deafening Silence does slow the game down quite dramatically. So happy to try to move towards that. This isn't it, but it does have a Mox and Green Suns and Endurance if I really need to play it safe. Pretty similar to the first hand, and I don't think I'm willing to go to 5 just to try to dig deeper for a 2 of, so I think we might just keep this and bottom the Night of Autumn, keep the second Green Suns for Endurance if really needed. The Knight being a Green Suns target's really nice as well. Matsol, I saw your Hogak deck. That looked pretty sweet. I believe it was just black, green? I think it was just the rock. Maybe there was like a small third color. But it looked really cool. Yeah, B1. Just green black. Nice. Whenever I see I can't say it. Polukranos? I always think of you. Very cool card. Especially in that 4-drop slot. Sea Pass. A third land here is what I really want. Okay. Let's go. I don't really care about the Saga in this matchup. Because turn 1, I just want a Green Suns for a Elvish Reclaimer. And then turn 2, Green Suns for Collector Oof. So I think I do want the Yav. Could also play the Saga next turn, but then I have to draw a land over the next 2 turns. I think that's actually pretty easy to hit. I can also get rid of it with the Reclaimer, so that's kind of cool. End Step Brainstorm makes me think they're like 1 card off the combo and just wanted to dodge some sort of turn 1 interaction. I'm just going to pass. Definitely feeling Abrupt Decay here. Which honestly just makes you want to Green Suns for Oof still. I think. Yeah, I'd rather make them have it. Okay. So although the Moxin is turned off, it does increase the power and toughness of the constructs, which is nice. We can also Endurance ourselves to put the Oof back into the deck if we could draw into a Green Suns. Or just hold up Sajiri Step, which I don't mind. Which we do still have one. Yeah, so pretty happy to just attack. I guess I attack with both, then hold up the Crop if really need be. There's no point holding up 2 mana with the Reclaimer if I can hold up 1 with the Crop Rotation. Still gonna try to decay. What do we want to get rid of? That's the question. It's probably this Saga. Just gonna get pro black. Which is pretty huge. They also allowed us to untap there and actually have the Sajiri Step online. Next time we get to hold up Endurance or make a construct. Chose to shuffle. It's good for us. But really want to put the lights out here with something like a Deafening Silence. To note, if they do destroy the Oof here, it does turn on the Endurance, because we get to tap the Moximed again for green. Or for any color, I guess, because the Saga thankfully is for green. Oh, they're fed. What? They ritualed and then... Interesting. Didn't see that coming. Pretty happy to play this. That is attack with both, and now we get to crack this to make this a 3/4. Does Dried Arbor increase the clock? They take 3, 4, 5 and go to 9. And then the Dried Arbor plus the Endurance is an additional 4 next turn and 5, which is 9. So I think here we will go for the Dried Arbor and then go for Endurance over the Saga. They play the Petal for Storm. Ritual. Oh, I probably should have responded to that Cabal. Yeah, I think I just respond to this Cabal with the Endurance and hope that by taking them off the 2 mana there, that does hurt them. I guess if I did cast it in response to the first one, they could have just cast this one anyway, so either way they were getting full value out of one Cabal. Nice. Very cool. Hopefully that was the winning play. Alright, we're back on the road. A big thanks to everyone who came in from True Hero stream and stayed. I'm Dukes on Twitch. I play usually Maverick or pretty fast strategies like Depths. And here we have a donation deck list looking at kind of a mixture of both. Mainly wanting to see if Deeproot Wayfinder and Ikoria, or the Invasion of Ikoria, has a life beyond in the Eternal formats, which hopefully they do. They're pretty cool cards to play with. So, pretty keen to see how they, how they front up. Thought it was a lands player. I take that as a huge compliment. So, Ravenous Panda, thank you. Too kind. I do want to get back onto lands as well. I really enjoyed the co-streams with Ali, and then just playing lands after that. Yeah, thought that was really cool. Are you just using Ikoria as a Zenith effect? Yes, because for 4 mana, so X equals 2, you can find Vampire Hexmage, which would remove all the counters from this, and give you, for 4 mana, a 8/8 reach legendary creature, which is kind of cool. Because you can remove all counters from the battle. What's nice as well is thanks to Karakas, you can also do it all over again. By returning the creature to your hand, you get the Invasion of Ikoria back, and then for 4 you can do it again, but this time getting the Hexmage from the graveyard. So that's pretty cool. And of course, Hexmage also is quite nice with Dark Depths. So that's pretty sweet as well. Panda, what colors is the list? That's the big question. Ooh. 1 second. We have a 1-lander with Mox. Pretty happy to mulligan this. We have a no-lander. Pretty happy to mulligan that. Okay, we got some gas here. I probably don't want to keep the Saga here. I do want the library. I think it's probably the Deeproot and the Saga here. This way we have crop rotation, potentially just to win a game through Karakas or Bog. We have Green Suns to develop. We have Sylvan Library to recover. So I think this is pretty good. The Merfolk hasn't been the greatest so far, but there have been times where it's just been able to hit really well. Oof, okay. Probably here, I'm happy to go for 2 basics with the Windsweeps because I'm definitely out of this game if I get Wastelanded. But I am happy to go and get Dryad Arbor still. Oh, does Mox change anything? That's pretty interesting. Look, I don't mind it. It's very hard for me not to play a turn 1 library if I can. And if they have days, it's not the worst, because library, when they already have an on-field creature, isn't going to be fully utilized, let's be honest. Usually it can't be side out straight away, so... what this does do as well is, next turn, we could potentially find a land in Green Suns for Reclaimer, and if that land's a fetch land, we get a 3/4. I mean, we could even... I was going to say we could even crop rotation for a land to make sure that the Zenith is online. But then if they have a removal spell for the crop rotation, it's just a little bit too bad, so... I think here, I'm actually just going to Green Suns. I could Green Suns for Dryad Arbor and hold up crop rotation. Doesn't do a whole lot though. I think I'd rather just try to get a Reclaimer online, but the chances that they have a bolt are pretty huge. Looks like I'm also lagging quite badly. Yeah. Alright, one sec. Just gonna log off and close MTGO. Alright. Oh. I'm good at this screen again. Yeah, I think there's room for Deeproot in the correct build. It's just tough finding that, especially for a creature that doesn't replace itself straight away. Magic Online is currently offline for scheduled maintenance or otherwise unavailable. Tough. Hey, Cube Club. Apologies, team, but it looks like Magic Online is currently offline for scheduled maintenance or otherwise. That's really lame. That's really lame. I'm not too sure what happens to the game then. If I have to come back at the same time as my opponent does and like not time out of that game, or if we both just get pushed out of the game. You're still playing? Alright, well, one sec. Unless it's just me. Yeah, maybe it's just Aussies. Oh, I'm in. Thanks, chat. Thank you. There we go. We're back. Slowly. I'm not sure if this happens for everyone else, but does it take a long time for MTGO to really load up once you log in? Alright. Yeah, okay. There we go. Green, white, green suns. The thing is, I don't really want to go for usually in this matchup, I don't like going for Elvish Reclaimer unless it's a 3/4, or I have multiples, and here I don't. So I'm actually just going to go for a Dryad Arbor, which they have to deal with anyway if they want to start attacking with this, because I guess they could have land and sorcery next turn, but we'll see how this plays out. Meant to be scheduled maintenance or just soon past. Monday night. Yeah, I guess I don't typically play on Mondays, so I could have just missed it at a few stages. But yeah, I think your best case is crop rotation the Dryad Arbor away if it does get bolted, and get a Flagstones, which is pretty much unwastelandable, which is pretty sweet. And it also just gives us 3 mana for most of the things we want to do down the line. If we get a trade here, I'm really happy with this. Take pressure off the board. DRC, of course, is very strong. And if it's just like a Goyfure, I'm not too unhappy about that. It is a 5/6, but we can do something about that pretty easily. Double Mox on the double Mox draw on a 5 is definitely not where I want to be. It's a 3-turn clock. Now it could just be a 2-turn clock if they... Actually, a 1-turn clock if they have a bolt. Okay. Force. Yeah, we'll call it there. Delver. We like the ending. I don't mind the Blast Zone. I also don't mind the Plagues in a Goyf battle. I don't like the 2 Sylvan Libraries. The Night of Autumn. I've started moving towards just keeping the Night of Autumn, and the 2 cards for that is Unlicensed Hearse and Grafdigger's Cage, which pop up a fair amount in this matchup. I could see the invasions coming out with the Hexmage just a little bit too slow. Like, potentially, obviously the 2 Endurances I do like as well. I don't mind Choke, but I feel like sometimes against Delver you just get to a stage where you can't actually cast it and you just die on the swing back. Maybe Double Plague is a little bit too much. Yeah. I like the Shadow Spears. I don't mind the Crops because they do find Bajuka Bog. I also don't mind the Deeproots because it at least draws out a bolt if they have one. I could see a land for a land. Like, this isn't really a Saga. They're bringing, like, Meltdown. It's obviously terrible, but I don't think they will. They did see Mox, but usually they either don't worry about it or try to bounce it with Borrower if they go for a really sort of mana denial heavy strategy. It could be the Krakus. It is a white source, but I think that's okay. So on like 3 lands, yeah, this is perfect. Happy to keep this. Can even lead on the Flagstones, which can't be wastelanded. And then we get to go Prismatic Ending on your 1-drop Wasteland you or Wasteland you, and then Prismatic Ending. Okay, that's pretty nice. I actually don't want to give them the option to daze. And then I'm not too sure on the role of this Ooze just yet. If I want to play it out next turn. If I just want to play Stage and Swords their first threat. They chose to shuffle. Okay. They're looking for something specific. The stops makes me like think they have maybe Surgical, and they're like, do I want a Surgical Wasteland? Well, I guess we'll find out if that Ponder was looking for a land. No. The answer is no. Unless it's looking for a green source. That could be the case. Chose to not shuffle. Okay. That's interesting. I still think here I'm happy to run out the Ooze. We're not going to get to a stage here where it's worth holding onto the Ooze so we can keep it above bolt range. Yeah. Also keeps a Goyf or a Murktide off the field just that little bit longer, which is nice. The crop rotation does potentially get us a black source in Scrubland as well for this Grist. That could also be a reason to hold a land for a little while, is just in case we draw into a... you know what it is. Oh, endurance, okay. I was going to say, in case we draw into a Mox Diamond. We're definitely playing the stage. And then I think we're just cropping away now the flagstones. We're going to get a scrubland. Oh, yeah, scrubland. And then honestly here, I think we just get Bojuka Bog. Oh, they're going to force it. Okay. They put nothing into the bin. Sure. Happy just to swords this. I don't think we're in a position either right now to be able to just throw away this endurance and grist to take out that graveyard. So if they have a... Oh, okay. So they want the wasteland that badly? Oh, wow. Still, I think we just try to slam grist here. The Dark Depths does nothing for us, sadly. It doesn't tap for mana. But if I play it, it might keep them off. Oh, that... Wow. Didn't expect that. I'm going to play it still. Because that might hold this Wasteland off. Whereas I'd much rather the Wasteland not hit this Savannah. But getting that Grist down is huge. Especially with the Wasteland. Yeah, this is fine. Surgical on stage, okay. Now you're a card down. I think you have enough answers that you don't really need to bring in Surgical in this matchup for that sort of thing. Surely there's a better card to keep in than bringing in Surgical. It's not like Surgicaling one card against us is going to just destroy our whole strategy. I'm definitely happy to see Surgical. That's all I'll say. Okay. Attack first. Nice. So they know about the endurance, but that's fine. Wow, they care about the Deeproot. What's in the bin? One Trop, one Volk. Oh, that's just a pass. Wow. That's pretty sweet. Surgical on okay. Like, come on. That's a don't surgical that. That mustn't mean it's good. Yeah. I'm going to fetch, I guess, here. Just in case our opponent has, like, land into Murktide. I obviously want to turn that off. Hey, Bob Mans. Very well, thank you. I sent you an email, but I just wanted to make a slight tweak with the original list, and then play that. And then off the back of these past 2 leagues, then talk about what to kind of stream for the last one. So I hope you're okay with that. Just some bonus value. Okay. We're pretty close to Grist ulti. No, we're not. So the change, I'll actually go over it in the next. Only slight things. Main things were finding room for these two Bobs. Two Saga, because I think Saga's a great card to get back with Deeproot, because at one counter, you don't really care about it, so if it comes in tapped, that's more than fine. So I actually took out the extra Bog, seeing that we're on, Bayou, because we're on the 4 Moxen, and the second step, because I feel like most players expect the second step, so by playing just one, you're still getting access to a step, but not having 2 is not the worst. And the only other card was Gaia's Blessing. I just wanted to make room for another removal spell, so I brought in Prismatic Ending. But Path to Exile I could also see in that slot. But yeah, and then I didn't know what to cut with the Shadow Spear, but obviously with Saga, Shadow Spear is quite nice, so we are just kind of having a bit of a, not a midlife crisis, but yeah, not too sure what the card I would drop for the Shadow Spear is. So I'm pretty happy running this back. Let me know if you guys have any changes you would make on the draw against Delver. I'm just going to go to the bathroom. It'll be 2 seconds. The one thing I don't think we need, looking back at this, especially on the draw, is the second Plague, if Plague at all. But I do think the Plague is probably better than some of these other cards. Hexmage is interesting because you can take counters off Murktide, which makes it blockable for Endurance, but otherwise there's nothing else. Yeah, the only reason that I do keep a Knight is Grafdigger's Cage or Unlicensed Hearse, which can just be pretty terrible if they do hit the field, so I don't mind just having the 4/3 as well. I think we will just keep a Hexmage, especially because it works quite nicely with the Dark Depths. Pretty nice hand. We're probably happy with this as a 6 without the Knight. Flip to Courier is pretty good. I probably should have thought about keeping in the Icorias. Delver's going to be okay. If we draw a land here... Yeah, okay. I'm pretty happy here to go Wasteland, Moxen pitch the Savannah, and now we have access to Wasteland them, Swords the Delver, and then next turn we have a 3/4 Reclaimer thanks to the fetch land. Wow, the play is going to be Wasteland Pass. Alright, that's actually really nice for us, because now we just get to hold the Windswept up, have that extra land in the deck to go and fetch hopefully next turn, because we have a bunch of 3-drops in hand. But if not, it becomes a Flagstones. Wow. That's pretty good as well. I will fetch now. Probably just get a basic, because again, we just want to get to that 3rd land. and played Deeproot. Now we get in for 3. This is one of those hands where it's really nice to be able to wasteland our opponent on the draw. And you can see where they might have gone. We have this Trop, we have a Ponder, we have a Delver, but we want to get a Delver and play first, untap and play the Ponder, because who wastelands a Delver player when they have a Delver on the play or a threat on the play? And that's exactly the spot. I reckon they had probably a Ponder or a Brainstorm, and they obviously just haven't hit it. And luckily Mox Diamond there kind of won at the game. So pretty happy to take that win. But yeah, I think from a sideboarding perspective, the Icorias are probably still worth it. Yeah, because an 8/8 is very hard for them to deal with, and especially an 8/8 that isn't based on the graveyard. So an 8/8 is a great way to deal with something like in a Nice and Hearse. It's keeping your Reclaimers as 1/2s, or your Knights as 2/2s, or your Skoos as a 2/2. Really nice. Alright, Demi Chicken. Really awkward hand with the mana. Not a big fan of this. Pretty happy to mulligan once. Just a little bit off. Like, we don't even have green and white in this hand. Okay. Probably happy just to bottom the Mox in here. But it is tough. If we draw into a land, we do get access to Turn 1 Library. I could see the Ikoria going. We have a pretty high chance of drawing a land as well, based on the numbers in the deck, so I think we actually take that risk. Yeah, the Karakas interaction with Ikoria is very cool. I'm a big fan of that. Turn. Oh, if they play a Volk, and they play like a Delver or a Ponder or something, I actually don't mind just throwing this Mox Diamond into a Daze, because a Daze on a Mox that you don't actually want is a pretty huge win. But only if we draw a land here. We don't. I don't think I'm willing to throw this Windswept under the Mox. I'd rather just have the Windswept. Chose to not shuffle. My line here is probably just Windswept Teeth for Green Suns for Dryad Arbor. Turn 2 Library. And that could find us a land for the Mox. Hey Juan, thanks for the follow. Hope you're well. Okay. Island Ponder. You don't see that every day. Not a snow covered, not a Volk, not a Tundra. Ooh, the pass back. Play the Library. Play the Reclaimer. Okay. I guess the library's kind of cool because you get to set up Deeproot. I'm sorry. Interesting. Is this like a I'm not too sure what this is. Creativity deck? Fable. Okay. This seems like maybe a creativity deck. Land? Okay, that's nice. I don't think we want the Bog Demigod. I think we just want to take out the Fable here with a Knight of Autumn. Gearhulk. I know some of these words. Knight of Autumn. Destroy this. Attack with this. Oh, they played Demigod or Revenge a few weeks ago? Interesting. Okay, well, probably nice to keep that Bog in the deck, but I guess that's pretty cool with Fable because you get to discard 2 Demigods. And then hopefully get the treasures to cast one of them. Ooze is better? Yeah, Ooze is actually a great target as well. Attack for the treasure. A little bit scary. Maybe another Fable. Intuition. Oof. It must be Demi. Is there any ETBs? Like, if they have a reanimate here, does that do it? Or can we untap and bog them? Or it's a cast trigger. Thank you. I guess we also have to make sure... I guess that's pretty cool, because I think if you had like a Demigod in the bin, and you cast one, and also had mana for Intuition, if an opponent accidentally, I guess with like, before the trigger goes on the stack, exiles one of them, then you can Intuition for the others, trigger goes on the stack, and you get the others back. That's pretty cool. Torrential Gearhulk? Oh my gosh. I guess it's the Gearhulk. Escape, Target card from graveyard. Yeah, I think we just give them one Gearhulk. Ah, they might have Reanimate. Ritual? 5 mana. Oh wow, the last two cards were from the Catacombs. Oh, then they can get back one of these. Oh, they can, yeah, Gearhulk into Magma. Wait, they gained the initiative as well? Why did they gain the initiative? What am I missing? What? Hold up. Ah, there it is. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Gotcha. That's cool. This is a sweet deck. I don't want this because I want to find it with this. And I do want this. Go to 10. Maybe not. What are we doing? Invasion for a 8/8? Wait, what's a corpse counter? If I remove the counter, does it remove the Gearhulk from play? Or maybe that's just a random counter. I assume not. It doesn't say anywhere on the card that if the corpse counter is removed, the creature gets removed from play. It's just a random counter. Can I can't see it. Yeah, a reminder. Okay. It's tough because if they forge 7, no, I think I'm okay paying for the extra card because we get to go flagstones and then invasion. This also gets a shuffle, which is relevant. Hexmage, and then play a 3/4. Hey, Punishing Waterfalls. Hope you're doing well, brother. Yeah, really cool game. I guess, like, in hindsight, holding up a Jugabog is pretty good, but Fable there just runs away with the game as well if I don't tackle it. Oh, wait a second. So we know that they have 1, 2, 3. Okay, so they only have 3 mana at the moment. But they do have another Gearhulk in hand. But yeah, this card's sweet. So the first ponder, they chose to not shuffle. So they obviously wanted at least one card. They chose not to shuffle again. They play a land. They have 3 cards in hand, 2 unknown. If they attack with both, they obviously have an answer for this, right? They would know about this. Guess we go for it before blocks. They're like a Brazen Borrower? Something to bounce? Oh no, I clicked no! Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. Runcore, what have you done? Oh, that's classic. Ah, that's a tough one. I thought it... why would you have no there? Of course I want to cast it. I just saw the button and I clicked. Look, I think it was we were in a tough spot. Let's be honest, but okay. What do we want? It's gonna be a long game. I do like the endurances. I do like the ooze buttons. Yeah, apologies, team. That's really poor. That's really poor. Choke's interesting, but maybe not. Torporob's pretty cool. Grist is cool. Towers. Tower, what does Tower do? Don't really care about the Gearhulk. I think once the Gearhulk's in play, it's kind of done the damage. I kind of want to board in a way that they can't get the Gearhulk into play. I think most of my creatures should be bigger than Gearhulk most of the time. Oof does turn off their... No, that's not worth it either. I don't mind the forces. Like, force hits Gearhulk and also Fable. Maybe it's just something like this. This might be, sadly, a world where Deeproot just isn't that great. Just like a one-of as a Green Sun's target. Grist is good. Knight's still pretty good, especially as a big creature. Swords is up there. Maybe not Shadow Spear. Library's still good. Scoos. It might just be Deeproot in like one night. We have a Mox hand with a turn 2. 1, 2, 3 crop. Okay. I'll keep this. And I think we just put back the invasion. No shuffle. Play stage. Play the Mox. Play Caracas. Oh, it actually doesn't work. Because we need an extra mana. Because we have to sack one of these lands to the crop, which means that we only have 2 mana to play with. We can't actually tap the depths for mana unless we lose the stage. So here we're just going to play the knight. And then if we really need to, we can hold up the endurance, pitch something. So actually not in a terrible position. I guess there's some thought for Deafening Silence, as it is a Dark Ritual deck, but potentially that's more of a on the draw, just to be a little bit more defensive. Well, double Brainstorm. I wonder if they're looking for a card like Submerge now, as a way to remove the knight. Or they have like a Lotus Petal and quickly get there. No. Okay. Dried Arbor. Well, that's a land to throw away. We have a lot of options here. Yeah, it's very true. So here we can hold... I feel like we should just play at instant speed here. Like, we could be really aggressive and double Wasteland them. We could go for Invasion this turn by using the Knight, get rid of the Dried Arbor for a land taps for mana. But I like just holding up Endurance and Knight here. They play an Otawara. Interesting. Fable's fine. I think we want to play around Submerge here. I think I want to crop, hold priority, which I'm not doing by holding down control. Okay. I thought I was. It doesn't matter anyway, or they're going to force that. Okay. Maybe playing around Submerge was just incorrect. Now we have 1 mana left over. Yeah. I didn't want to make the token because of Submerge. I didn't think they would do this if they don't have access to Submerge. We can get the other Yav here and just play the Endurance. Then we have an attacker and we have the Knight to hold up the Bajikabog at instant speed. And then if we don't use it, we can just go and get the 2020. Grist is kind of cool. Yeah, I think doing it the other way was correct for sure. Yeah, I think there I was just playing around something that I didn't really have to play around at all. I'm actually happy to trade the endurance with the goblin here. And then hold up bog if needed. Again, it could just be correct to like hold up the combo once more, not play the grist. Intuition, magma. This is a brew that looks to play Torrential Gearhulk and a reanimate spell a little bit like Unburial Rites, but you also get the initiative. They chose to not shuffle with that. Yeah, I felt like there were probably multiple times there where I could have gone for the combo instead of playing the grist the turn before. But hopefully... Okay. They must have something else. Maybe another Otawara? I don't want to play this. I guess they could just hardcast, so... Something with flash and flying? No? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think there I should have chosen a route to stay on and just stayed on it. I know that was my bad. Looking back, nothing really to change. Maybe the silence, but maybe they've just like moved away from the rituals as well. Yeah, choke's not too bad. I'm just not too sure what it's better than. That's the only thing. They do have a lot of islands though. Crop's pretty good because it hits Bajuka Bog as well in this matchup. Swords is still strong. Hex Mage. I don't mind trying out a choke in the slot of a library. Okay. Probably happy with this as just a turn 1 Savannah, turn 2 Mox into Saga into Knight. And then we have Saga going from then on in. Just a land. Honestly, here, happy just to wasteland and upkeep. Okay. I'm gonna keep the Dried Arbor just as endurance fodder. Okay. Just gonna put these over here. Crop. Happy to attack first. Then play knight. Now we have endurance. Could potentially have crop next turn. I will not play the showcase. No, I have work tomorrow. Sadly, the showcase and Sunday Legacy challenges are around 2 a.m. on Mondays for me. Sometimes on Saturday nights, because it's about 10 p.m. for the start for me. But otherwise, sadly, being in Australia, just don't line up too well. But I'd love to. Oh, demigods. Do they have, like, land ritual? Okay. Are the last two cards... Force blue card? Oof. Lucky. Very lucky. Very, very cool card. Oof. What do I want to do here? Probably just bash with the Reclaimer. Hold up Crop, hold up Saga, hold up Knight. See if we can race. I think I just want to get... We're at 10, they're at 17. 2, 5, 10. 11. 12. 13, 14. Oh, so close. It's honestly probably just a fetch land. I'm just going to float a mana here. I will get a Mox. Hitch the stage. Where's Dried Arbor? It's there. I think I'm happy to 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Oh, what if we fetch Forest, crop this away, fetch. Oh, so close. Oh, we can nearly get there if we tick up with Grist. That'd be cool. I guess we attack first, and then we just trade off the a construct with the demigod. But still, putting them to 1's pretty cool. Just hope they don't have another demigod. What are you doing? Ooh. Don't you do it. They got 3 cards. They need one to be a land or a ritual and the other to be a demi. Nice. What was the card on top if we milled? It was a land. Okay, interesting. That's pretty cool. Maybe that was the play. Just all or nothing. Like saying we only really lose to another demigod anyway, so we might as well tick up and see. That would have been cool. Sweet deck though. The deck is pretty cool. Yeah, no, that's true. My only thought was if they have another way to deal damage to my face. But yeah, there is a point there just to go for it, or even keep up Duck Depths. Because keeping up Dark Depths is kind of the same as attacking with everything and putting them to 1. But yeah, not a real league so far for Deeproot, unfortunately. Kind of cool in that match that you do get extra activations of Bajuka Bog potentially. If you play one, get rid of it with a crop or a claimer, get it back. Yeah, cropping away the Saga is really nice as well, especially when it gets to 3. Just because you have the Mox doesn't mean you need to necessarily give away the stage there. But yeah, I think all in all we're in a pretty decent spot. On the play. Very nice. What do we have? Bit of an awkward hand, especially with the Dryad Arbor. We have a turn 2 Deeproot or a turn 2 Green Suns for a Claimer, which I think is just a little bit too fair. Much better. Much better. Happy to keep this and bottom 1 Zenith, I think. Keep both lands and the stage, removal and Zenith. There's also a world where we get rid of Reclaimer and go turn 1 Green Suns for Dryad Arbor, turn 2 Zenith for a Reclaimer. That way if the Dryad Arbor gets dealt with by like a bolt, then the other Reclaimer comes down as a 3-4, which is pretty cool. But we'll see how this goes. Just going to get a Savannah, as it also casts the swords. Janadi. I don't believe we've played so far. Honda. Definitely gives me Doomsday vibes. They chose to not shuffle. Grief. Okay. Now I think what we're looking at is probably blue-black Reanimator. So if we get a chance here to hold up Bojuka Bog, I'd be very happy. Nice. Honestly, here, I think the play might be... This could also be like a Death Shadow deck that just didn't have Underground Sea. I think either way, I'm happy to play out the Mox. Pitch the Windswept. I don't think the Reclaimer being a 3-4 is that vital here. Play the stage as one piece of the combo and then pass, which allows us to hold up the sword as well as hold up the Reclaimer. The way they grouped feels like DD? Interesting. Okay. Here I'm pretty happy to at least just grow the Reclaimer. That's fine. They're playing a Wasteland. Is it too aggressive to go for my own Wasteland here? I wonder if they're trying to find Snuff Out. Maybe Flagstones for a turn, yeah. That's pretty cool. I think we have a reader, my friends. They played Wasteland for turn, because now it's their turn 3. Okay. This is fine, as we do have the swords for this. I think best case is just a land off the top that's untapped. Mox is pretty bad. But we get to swords this. Get in with both because the land comes in tapped. We're doing the thing! This can go in the graveyard. And then we'll probably just get back maybe a stage. Yeah. Surveil, yeah, that was really nice. Knowing the forest is just out of the deck is quite good. Leo. Did not expect Leo. Knight's pretty strong. They have 4 cards. I think Knight here is just too good not to slam. Days. It's like a bug mid-range deck. This does get Dried Arbor, I guess. Could be a Lurin. I think just because they're at 9, I'd rather slam with the Reclaimer than play the flag, than keep the flagstones up. Could be a weird natural order brew as well. Okay. Chose to shuffle very quickly. I'm gonna I don't mind attack with a Claimer. If they want to block with the Leo and the Snap, we just trade off. They have a Daze, it's kind of lame, but... I guess the ramp doesn't do a whole lot in the face of Wasteland that if we hold the Reclaimer up. But I'm probably okay just to bash here with the Reclaimer. Trade with the Leo if they double block. Oh, they're gonna let it through. Wow, I didn't see that coming. Have to have Fatal Push for 1, yeah. Just snap into another one. Ooh, double Fatal Push, okay. No great attacks. Yeah, step does kill. I thought they were at 3 for a second, but I think, yeah, we just go for a step. Let's just go for an actual plains. I guess they could have endurance. Okay. Well, alright. A bug mid-range deck. I could see the libraries coming out if they keep the Leos. I don't mind the chokes. I don't mind the prismatic ending and extra removal. The engineers are interesting because they're terrible for the Leo to block, and they do deal with both Baleful Strix and Snapcaster Mage. It's weird. I feel like the deck is just like, it just has a lot of grind to it that doesn't really need a whole lot. Like, it could just be switching these with these, just calling it a day. Like, the Moxen is still nice. Leo's a bit of an issue, but not the worst. I guess a 3-4 in Endurance is pretty nice. Like, the Deeproot is a little bit rough in that they have most likely 4 Strix and 4, or maybe not 4 Leos, but they have pretty good blockers that I could see a Deeproot coming out. I don't mind Knight giving access to things like Bajuka Bog if they have like Reanimate. Obviously their mana is pretty intensive as well. A Servo with a Shadow Spear, that's pretty classic. I don't mind trading like a Knight for a Endurance and then just having the 2 chokes. Pretty happy with just how the deck goes. Knight of Autumn is not too bad because it does hit Strix if you really need to. I assume they're playing Sylvan Library. Sounds pretty cool. Turn 1, Green Suns for Zenith for Dryad Arbor. Good Wasteland as well. No turn 1 play. Happy to go for Savannah into Dryad Arbor. This might just be like double duel into Strix. Not playing the challenge. They hit, okay. It's probably fine for us. Honestly, I think at this stage I'm happy just to play out the Knight. And then just go potentially triple Wasteland next turn. Strix is fine. Oh, they're gonna Wasteland us? Okay. See how this ends up. Happy to pay for that. Probably happy just to get a fetch here. All right. Nice. What do we think? What do we think? Quickly go back to gameplay, and let's just break this up a little bit. We can also have 6 here, so let's go with removal over here. I guess that's kind of a Green Suns target. We have Knights. These, that's obviously a turn 1 play. Prop effects. Here, Ooze, Green Suns, Hexmage. We can put that in wing conditions. Alright. Saga, Dark Depths, there. These here. These here. Stage. Wasteland. Step, double flagstones, Bog, Dryad Arbor. Nice, okay. We'll just put mana. Sorry, team. Here we go. Forest. We do want that bog, sorry. Plains. Nice. Alright, so 3-1. Sorry, 4-1. Not too shabby. What is this deck trying to do? Obviously, this deck is a pretty mid-rangey deck. It's in Abzan colors. How do we win? So obviously we have the Dark Depths combo, which we can get there with either Thespian Stage or the one-off copy of Hexmage. Hexmage as a one-off copy can also be found through the Invasion of Ikoria, which can either take the counters off the 2020 or off the Dark Depths to make a 2020, or the counters off this to make a 8/8 reach, which is pretty cool. So you kind of got a package here and a package here, along with Saga. And the main reason for Saga was that I think this is a great card to really punish players who don't answer Deeproot. Deeproot's great if it does hit, but by just hitting your jewels and your basics or your fetches, it isn't as powerful as it could be. And I think that Saga's the real card that makes your opponent, that really punishes your opponent for not dealing with Deeproot. So Deeproot's obviously very cool. It is tough to have a card that doesn't replace itself straight away. Obviously, say Ramanap, if you green suns for it on a turn where you haven't played a land, you usually get a value out of it straight away. In many ways, a 2-for-1. But Deeproot with the Surveil as well is quite strong. So having a 2-drop as well is quite relevant in this deck. Another 3-drop is just, you know, competing with things like Knight, Grist, etc. Ooze, I think, is quite cool. It's really nice to have ongoing graveyard hate over something like a one-off, like the, you know, Crop the Bog or Endurance effect. So I really like having the Scoos. Obviously the Plowshares are warranted. You know, at least 3 Zenith, at least a Grist, probably at least 3 Knight, probably the 4 Reclaimers is correct, at least 3 Crops as well. So you kind of have your maybe stuff here, I would say. That's kind of your maybe stuff. You want your 4 Moxen, you want your 3 Stage, your 2 Depths at least. You want your 2 Flagstones, you want your 3 Wastelands. The 2 Yavs are really strong as well. Obviously, to find space for the Sagas, we took out 1 Step and 1 Bayou, which I think is fine. I think as well it's fine just to have the 4 Fetch lands alongside the 4 Moxen, instead of having like a 5-3 split. I think that's pretty good. Yeah, so I think there's like a lot of space for like where you want to fill it out, because we obviously have these cards, which by adding in an additional copy, you pretty much get an additional copy for every land or every creature that you have. But you also don't want to have too much fluff. So we could potentially look at taking out this sort of package, adding in the extra green suns, adding in the extra crop, and that's 60. Which does still give you the 2 Sagas in here with the Deeproots, which is nice. And there's not too many matchups where I don't want to have the extra copies of these cards, which is kind of nice. I'm just not sure on the number of Sagas, if it's correct. Yeah, I really liked your next edition as well with the Naya build. With the board, like, I don't think you can kind of not go without 2 Deafening Silence on the board, 2 Endurance and 2 Force, the Collector Oof as well. The Chokes, I would say, is where there's like a bit of play. The Prismatic Ending, the 2nd Engineer, maybe even the 1st Engineer. It's kind of a reason to be in black, I guess. The Blast Zone's nice as a sweeper, but maybe like these 3 could be the same sort of competing for the same slot. The Tower is obviously quite strong as well against decks like 8 Cast, Caldra, things like that. The Torpor Orb, you could have yeah, something else in this slot, but I definitely like these 8 for sure. And then these are still fine cards. Like, I think these all have nice matchups in the current metagame. Could play with 4 Mox with 3 Moxen. The big reason why I like having the 4 Moxen is that you get that increase of 6% of having it in your opening hand from 33.3 to 39.9, I think it is. And your Moxen starts are always your best starts, so having them in the opening hand, and in this deck, like having extra ways to really punish a Mox opener with like turn 1 library or even turn 1 Deeproot to maybe untap and get back that extra land off the Mox Diamond is pretty cool. But yeah, I've just always liked 4. I think there are obviously ways where you can just draw them in... you can just draw too many. Like there were a few games there we just had 2 dead ones in hand, but I've always been similar to Aether Vial. I always think it's kind of a 1 of or a 4 of. But you obviously see some Vial decks like what Jeff does with Esper Vial. Sometimes it's just 3 Vials. But I think in a deck like this where you do have access to getting lands back as early as turn 2 with Deeproot, it's worth considering. It's also a great way to get Reclaimer out of bolt range, get Knight out of bolt range, play around days, things like that. But yeah, I think if anything, it would be nice to play with maybe some Path to Exiles on the board or some sort of extra removal for a deck like Delver, where you probably don't want the Knight of Autumn, the 2 libraries, but you're pretty happy with everything else, so you obviously want to bring in probably the Blast and the Prismatic, and then maybe like 1 extra removal spell. Yeah, I think the big reason to run black is Grist as a Green Suns target, and then obviously playing around with the Hex Mage part. I would say the Plague Engineer in the current metagame, it's more of just a upside of black. It's not really a reason to run black. But obviously red giving you access to Minsk is pretty cool. So yeah, maybe there's a world where Deeproot and Minsk get there. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Bob, I'll definitely be in touch via email for, yeah, just see where we want to make some tweaks for the final league and go from there. Hope you guys really enjoyed this. If you want to find me, you can find me on YouTube, of course, and Twitter. And then you'll find the article on the first 2 leagues with this build and the final one on the greensunzenith.com. But a huge thank you to you all for coming in and watching. A huge thank you to those who came in from True Hero stream and stayed. That means a lot. A big thank you to True Hero for the raid as well. And a big thank you for the new followers and the new subs. I very much appreciate it. Yeah, looking to come back probably even tomorrow night with the stream. If we see how this goes. But if not, probably just back with Abzan Depths, which I've been slowly working on. And it's been doing really well. We obviously have a card over here. Not too sure what card it is. It's a 59 card deck. That means it's the Endurance. No. Anyway, I'll probably be back tomorrow night with another stream. But until then, I'm going to see who else is streaming and send you guys over there. Looks like Doom's actually streaming, which is very cool to see. So I'm going to send you guys there. Hey, enjoy your weekends. Stay safe for those of you playing in the challenge or the showcase. Best of luck. And I will catch you another time. No, I've been playing just 2 Fiends, Bobmans. Playing just 2 Fiends. What are we looking at? I think it might be... Got the Green Suns, the Ramanap, the Endurance, the Knights, the Thalias, yes, the Sentinels. That's actually really odd. It's because I was playing around with Undermountain Adventurer in the main deck as well. But I felt like it was overkill in a lot of spots. So that was it. But hey, enjoy, and I'll catch you next time.